It took 15 steps for her to die. Okay. Reevaluating things? I don't know. See, that sounds interesting. I definitely analyzed. Slow down. What do you remember, girl? I don't know, but we're about to find out. That first line out of all of these is giving nothing. Super heavy, but it sounds good. Her time travel. Oh, Jesus. Time traveling? I've never read time travel in a book. Hey, welcome or welcome back to my channel. This week, I'm going to be choosing the book for this video by reading the first chapter of the ones that I have picked, ranking them, and sticking with the one that's catching my attention. I have a total of 5 books. These are all my library books. The one that I'm kind of least excited to read right now would be Sanctuary, just because I know that this is going to be on the heavier side. I don't know, this kind of feels a little dystopian, and I don't know if I'm a fan of dystopian books, but I haven't really heard people talk about this. Thieves Gambit. This is like a thriller. I think it's kind of giving Inheritance Games, maybe. They're Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. I just don't know how I feel about those kinds of books where there's games to be played. The ones that I have read, I've liked. It's just I'm always so iffy going into them. Maybe The Dark Place I put in the middle just because, I don't know. I haven't really read this. None of these authors I've read before anyway. Again, it might be a little heavy, but it's kind of right up my alley as well. Number 2, I would say this, which is called The Unfortunates. I think this is going to be like my standard thriller, and I'm not that nervous to read it. And then my top one as of right now that I'm hoping that the first chapter is really captivating is this romance. I think it's the only romance that I have. This Is How You Fall in Love. I think it's maybe South Asian. I'm not sure. I've been wanting to read this for so long now, and it just came out March maybe. The one problem that I might run into with these books is that I don't think the first chapters are gonna have anything special like popping out. I feel like the kinds of books that I read, it takes a minute to get into it. We'll just see how this goes. So I'm gonna start with Sanctuary, because why not? This takes place in 2032. Jesus Christ, I would be 33. Oh geez. Okay, let's see. Ooh, ah. Okay, oh, you know what? I might tell you the opening line of each. So the opening line of this one is, it took 15 steps for her to die. Okay. Wow. Chapter 1, very heavy. It's 11 pages. It begins with our main character here, who's at home somewhere in Vermont with her family. Her and her younger brother are watching some live feed on TV. Her mom is there as well, and they're watching a girl who's probably 15-ish, and it's showing her trying to cross onto, I guess, US soil. They have her people behind her and the US troops or whoever on the other side, and telling her to stop, like you're not permitted on US soil, but she's like not even there yet. And as she's taking steps, she, I guess, steps on some kind of landmine, and she's blown to pieces. Yeah, all of that in chapter 1. Very graphic scene. I would say I am intrigued to continue it. Like I said, this just feels super duper heavy, and I'm not gonna go over like plot or anything. I'm literally just going based off of the first chapter. And just the chapter, it's giving horrifying. And then obviously we see what's happening today. I just feel less inclined to pick that up right now. However, I did just finish reading, you know, a romance, so maybe I can read something a little heavier. Whatever book I pick is most likely gonna be my last book of April. I don't know if I want to rank it out of 5. Like intrigue, I guess I would rank it like a 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5, honestly. Like I'm very interested in it. I'm gonna go with Thieves Gambit, chapter 1. Ooh, ah. First sentence. A quest can't trust anyone in this world except for a quest. That means nothing to me right now. Going off of chapter 1, I would probably give this a 3 out of 5 for my intrigue. It seems like we have some kind of family of thieves. we have our main character, Rosalind, and she is put on this quest, and I think her last name is Quest, with her mom. She's in this mansion or wherever where her mom is a maid, and she is there to steal something. However, she almost gets caught because this Siamese cat is by her, and that's it. I think down the line, as I continue the book, it will get better, but going based off of chapter 1, comparing it to the first one that I read, I would still say this one. I'm gonna go with The Unfortunates. This doesn't have chapters necessarily. It has tracks. And you guys can see the book is really not that long. It's like 310 pages maybe. There's 55 tracks. Even though I'm kind of interested in it, the way the formatting of the book is, because I've kind of flipped through, it's like each track is maybe 5 pages, and I don't know how that formatting is going to translate, like how that's going to work in my brain. I don't know if I can go off of track 1, but we'll see. I do know this is a thriller, and I think like black women are going missing or something. Okay, track 1 is 4 pages. Sentence 1. In 1994, the year of my birth, my Aunt Nita died from AIDS-related complications. Intrigue. I don't know, I want to give it a 2. Again, I see it getting better, but going off of this first chapter, I feel like I need to read the synopsis, but I don't want to because I'm just going off of this first chapter. I don't know, I'm a little confused. So we learned that her aunt who had AIDS was fired from her teaching job because they said she posed a threat, a health threat to everyone else because of her AIDS. So she ends up writing a book, and this is a book that's in schools, I guess colleges and universities. This was right before she passed away. A decade and a half later, there's a white student who ends up writing a thesis and uses her aunt's work as a citation. He doesn't use it in a positive way. We just kind of get details of our main character. I'm rereading this again, and I'm wondering if this entire book is a thesis, is her thesis, because she says right here, hopefully the previous 2 sentences will ensure that you, the thesis committee, see me as worthy enough for recognition. The rest of this just sounds like she's reevaluating where she is now, and specifically this first track, she mentions the label Angry Black Girl. It seems like she's just reevaluating things. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I'm so confused. I feel like this is one of those things where I need to continue reading, and I don't just want to talk out the side of my neck. So we're gonna leave it at a 2 right now. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna read this little part right here because I can't just read this first track. So this is an edgy, bitingly funny debut about a queer, half-Nigerian college sophomore who, enraged and exhausted by the racism at her elite college, is determined to reveal the truth about the unfortunates, the unlucky subset of black undergrads who just keep disappearing. See, that sounds interesting, right? That's why I got it, but going off of the first chapter, I don't know. The Dark Place. I can already tell you now because I just flipped through it again a little bit. It looks short. The chapters are short, but not only that, if you look at the formatting, big, I don't know if that's a margin, I don't know, big space at the top than usual, right? See this compared, seriously slow down compared to this, you know what I mean? So this one will probably read quicker anyway. I definitely analyzed. Slow down. Sentence number 1. Past. It's not a sentence. It's the, what do you call it? Like the little header. And this is taking place in the past, November 9 years ago. The first sentence. This is what I remembered. What do you remember, girl? I don't know, but we're about to find out. Interesting. Off of first chapter. 4 starts off again 9 years ago. Our main character, Hailey, is 8, around 8, and her older brother is 15. They are in the living room, I guess. She has another cousin there named Juice. They're playing games. Her mom comes to tell her, what did I tell you earlier? It's time for bed. So she goes up to her room. I can tell maybe there's something off with her. Like, I don't remember if this has some kind of speculative element in it, but the way that some of the descriptions are, I don't know if it's because she is young, but it's kind of like objects are coming alive the way it's being described. Apparently she has this whole routine when she's getting ready for bed. So her mom's like, okay, this should have been done, but when I come back up, it better be done. As she's doing it, she hears this noise outside, and it's coming from the front door, like someone trying to break in. Then there's some bangs. The first bang, it's the door, someone trying to get in the door, and then there's some more, and that is the sound of a gun. And then that's all she remembers. Lastly, the one I want to win, but the one that I'm less confident about out of all of these, because even though I mentioned at the beginning, most of these I didn't think would give me anything in the first chapter. I kind of didn't really have faith in all of these books, but this one more specifically, because out of everything, this is a romance. I don't feel like it's gonna give me anything from chapter 1. Line 1. Yo, does this pickup line work, do you think? Adnan asks, tossing his phone on my bed and interrupting my blissful reading of a juicy new romance in which the main character and the love interest arrive at a remote cabin only to discover that the last room available has one bed. That first line out of all of these is giving nothing, which I'm not surprised. So if I'm going off of the first chapter, and I know that this is a romance, I would probably give it a 1. Main character named Zara and her best friend Adnan. This is South Asian, and they're going over pickup lines because he seems to like some girl, and he's, you know, talking with his best friend, and they're best friends. And it seems like not only are they best friends, but the families are friends, because downstairs their parents are getting ready for a dinner. Go downstairs, they're eating, and one of the uncles, I don't know whose uncle, makes the comment, you know, his relationships or him liking other girls isn't working out because y'all need to get together. So I'm assuming, is this going to be friends to lovers? Like, are they going to be in a relationship? I don't remember. But that's normally how these books go. The uncle makes that comment, and that's kind of it. Zara's dad comes home, and he ends up dropping the bomb. Dropping a bomb on the table that he is diabetic and food is very important, it seems. Him and the wife, so Zara's parents, apparently start arguing. Adnan's mom is trying to get Zara's mom's attention, saying, you know, your stove is weird, like it's making these weird noises, but she's so distracted with trying to have this discussion or arguing with her husband, she's not really paying attention. And as one of them says, like, okay, I'm leaving the conversation, the stove blows up. That's it. Out of the 5 books, I would for sure kick these 2 out, even though I did give this a 3. And you know what, I'm gonna drop it down to a 2. I gave it a 3 because I can tell down the line it could get exciting, which is cheating. I'm going off of the first chapter, so I would give this a 2, and I would give this a 1. So I'm knocking these out completely. Now, if I remember correctly, I technically gave this a 5. Yeah, I gave this one a 2, and this one I gave a 4. This one should be kicked out, but I just see the potential. For the purpose of this video, I will kick this book out as well. Now I'm gonna go by the synopsis. This takes place in 2032, a near future America. All citizens are chipped and tracked. It's almost impossible to survive as an undocumented immigrant, but that's exactly what 16-year-old Vali is doing. She and her family have carved out a stable, happy life in small town Vermont. But when her mother's counterfeit chip starts malfunctioning and the deportation force raids their town, they are forced to flee. Now on the run, Valley and her family are desperately trying to make it to her Tia Luna's in California, a sanctuary state that is currently being walled off from the rest of the country. Going back to that first chapter, that's where the girl was when she was blown to smithereens. But when Valley's mother is detained before their journey even starts, Vali must carry on with her younger brother across the country to make it to safety before it's too late. Super heavy, but it sounds good. This one, 17-year-old Hailey Williams didn't ask to disappear. She didn't ask to move from Kansas out to the suburbs in Missouri, but she did disappear. And not only that, when she vanished from our world, she materialized in a dark, twisted version of the night that changed her life forever. The night her older brother went missing. Just as Hailey realizes this moment could offer a chance to unravel the truth about her brother, she's yanked away from the dark place back to our world. Craving a sense of normalcy, she goes to a party with her best friend, where she meets Elam Rhodes, tall, handsome, and undeniably, inexplicably familiar. Hailey can't help the pull she feels towards him. It's a classic girl meets boy situation until it happens again. She disappears right in front of him. Together, Hailey and Elam investigate the truth about time, space, and reality, with Hailey increasingly convinced her time travel... Oh, Jesus. Time traveling? I've never read time travel in a book. I don't know if I'm ready. Her time travel holds the key to saving her brother, but the more they learn, the more Hailey begins to see darkness lurking in her world and in herself. I'm not gonna lie. If I'm going off a synopsis, I'm still sticking with this one. I feel like I'd rather cry than be confused at the moment. Hey, so I'm in another room yet again. But I wanted to update before I finish it. I don't have that much left. I have less than 100 pages. We're gonna start off from where we left off. After they witness this murder on their TV, we actually learn a little more about what the United States is like. Now this one only has 3 minutes.
One eternity later.
What's up? I have been ready to close out this video. I'm having to do it again because I ended up giving my final thoughts and it was on slow motion. So it also had no sound, so I couldn't speed it up. But I did end up finishing Sanctuary. I'm so happy that I read this, even though I didn't really think that I was in the mood for it. And I'm giving it a 5. I was debating it because I'm like, I feel like there were some moments where I was kind of like, There were 2 things that I could complain about, but it didn't really affect my reading in that way. But one of the things is it just felt like things just fell into place, if that makes sense. It's like whenever our main character, because I already forgot her name, and her brother, you know, were having to travel by themselves, it's like they somehow made it. They made it to New York. And when they were in New York, they had to find this, I don't know if she's a nun, but they had to find this woman. And it's like they end up finding her. You know, it's just like everything fell into place. But I'm like, it's fiction at the end of the day. This was just such a heartbreaking story. It's very dark. But I will say this, despite it being very heavy. Oh, I do have notes. It felt almost that there was nothing to balance out all of the dark moments, but I really had to sit and think about it because there are lighthearted moments, you know. There are moments with them as a family. There's moments with the sister and brother and her letting her brother, you know, play on the playground. You know, there are these lighthearted moments that it's maybe not equal, but it definitely gave me all the feels that, you know, I felt sadness, I felt frustration, I felt anger. It was just such a sad book. And the saddest part of all is that you see some of these happen. Like this, and I might have said this already, this could easily be someone's memoir, you know, with the exception of like the robotic stuff, like what makes it dystopian. But what's so crazy about this book is, and a lot of dystopians today, is you would think what's making it dystopian is the story in general, being, you know, on the run from the xenophobic government. But that's not what makes it dystopian, in my opinion, because all of that, it's real. It's things that are happening in real life, things that are being put into place where, you know, down the line, like this could end up being America or the United States, you know, 2040, 2035, 2028. To me, when I read these stories, what makes it dystopian is just like the technology, like that, like the robotic stuff. And not really, because we have humanoids now, whatever the hell that is. Dystopian books really aren't that dystopian. That's the scariest part. Before I close out the video, I will also mention that I did end up reading 2 other books in here. I'm not even going to go into detail about them. I did read both of these. I actually listened to majority of it as an audiobook. Maybe not this one. It was kind of like audiobook and reading it physically, but this one I did listen to majority of it as an audiobook. I loved it as an audiobook. I ended up giving this a 4.5. This is also the first book in a series. I totally forgot that. The second book, I believe, comes out in like November of this year. I really enjoyed it. This one, I still don't know what I'm giving it. Well, I'm lying. I think I did settle for a 4-star. I'm not gonna go into detail because that's not what this video is about, but I did at least want to mention that I did read them. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I am definitely going to be reading the other books that I spoke about in this video. I just don't know when or if I'm even going to put them in videos, because lately I've been reading very quickly. And when I read quickly, I don't know, I've just been in the reading mood and I'm not thinking about picking up my camera and stuff because I'm finishing them so quickly. I just finished my 4th book today, you know, so I'm going to start another one later on. And I will see you next week. Bye!